It is a very, very earned round of applause.
Thank you.
So hopefully I didn't overhype it, because this movie is fucking legit. And it's absurd that it's as good as it is as early in your career. So I do want to sort of backtrack a bit. I mean, I know you from your shorter content online. How did you get your start?
I mean, I've been acting since I was like 5, and then I was born in Texas, but I grew up in Alabama, and the only way that you can act in Alabama is either to do theater or make the films yourself. So I kind of fell in love with making films myself because it gave me the opportunities to act. So that's how I started.
And did you always have aspirations to make features? Because you're in a sort of generation that grows up on some shorter content, and some people stick to that exclusively.
Yeah, I definitely always wanted to make features, but I think I wanted to make short films first, and then realized how much fun that was. I think I could only dream to make a feature. Like, that was kind of a big goal,
Yeah, and one of the things that I love about your short stuff, which if you guys haven't seen it, it's Some Bad Ideas.
That's a bad idea.
That's a bad idea, sorry. And it is, in a weird way, those are kind of a nutshell of what works so fucking well in this, is you're very good at taking a simple idea and committing to it with utmost sincerity. And I'm just kind of curious, what about that appeals to you?
I just like honesty of human behavior, I just like to study human behavior, and I think that lends itself to comedy, and it lends itself to horror, to be funny and relatable, you kind of have to look at the psychology of why people do things, and that kind of lends itself to this genre as well.
And for this, I mean, talking about that sort of observational thing about human behavior, this also has such realized characters in it, and I'm curious, are there moments that you started to see friends around you or just people in the wild behave that you started to write down, like, oh, I gotta keep track and use that later?
I mean, this is very exaggerated, I think if you should be you're probably in the wrong friend group if this happens.
But the idea of the One Wish Willow, is that an idea that you've had for a long time? Was it ever going to have use in shorts and then that about this? Or?
No, I was really wanted to tell this Wish movie, and I did a lot of research about different wish devices. You've got like a wishbone and you've got like a wishing well, and I couldn't really find anything that worked for the story. I wanted it to be something you could buy at the store. I didn't want it to be something that just mysteriously shows up on your doorstep and you don't know where it came from. I loved the idea of no, if you wanted to, you could go into this store and you could buy this thing and it would work.
I love how matter of fact it is. There's no question. It's oh yeah, this
no,
is
it works. Yeah, I just wanted to get away from what we've seen so many times where it's and that's why I kind of make fun of that in the store, where he's I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, dude, I'm fucking with you. It's right here. So I did all that research and I had to just make something up because nothing really fit the story. So I made up the One Wish Willow.
Do you have a bunch of lore that just you and your producers and cast talked about of where it came from and whatnot that's not necessarily in the film?
Not really. Something I learned from doing films on YouTube and stuff is that not that this will have YouTube comments, but the YouTube comments will usually do a lot of work for you. You tend to get a lot of credit for things that weren't your idea at all. I did this short film called The Chair, and people were like, oh, this means this, and when he put the camera like that, it meant this, and I'm like, yeah, that's right. So no, I think people can just kind of make up what they think the One Wish Willow is and where it came from.
I mean, I love that. Now, I want to talk about your cast for a little while. Because the performances in this are so fucking good. They're just unreal. And so...
Cooper's here somewhere. I don't know if he's...
Cooper's in here somewhere.
Maybe.
But when you were auditioning people, how many did you look at before you landed on each? And then what were your sort of your aha moments? You're like, yep, it's them.
I mean, I knew really early on that if Nikki didn't work, the movie didn't work. So we knew, we auditioned a lot of people, and it was really hard to get someone that could do both, because I feel like you have to almost play two roles in this movie, and so finding someone who could kind of do the really natural stuff and the really crazy stuff was a challenge. Like, we went through a lot.
What do the sides look like for a movie like this?
It was the scene where they're at the dinner table and like the breakups, or like where she's like, I can be Nikki, and he's like, don't be Nick, just be normal, and like that was one of the scenes. And then we had the scene in the car where she's talking about how love and romance, blah blah blah. But that, and so because we want different examples of her playing, how crazy and everything.
And can you talk a bit about casting Bear?
Yeah, again, it was just auditioning so many people, and then Michael came in, and he had like this innocence to him, like his voice is so unique too, like, and I was like, oh dude, that's what this movie needs, because the thing about it is that like, Bear turns out to not be so innocent, so like I wanted to start from such an innocent place with that, so I thought he just nailed that like energy.
He nailed it, and he's so good at this restrained, like on the verge of saying or doing the thing that he should be doing and not doing it, and it's excruciating to watch him not do it in the best way. I'm curious, like, what kind of conversations did you have with him about dialing that in?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of I write a lot of like ums and likes in my dialogue. Like I write a lot of that in, but I mean, it's being intentional. We shot a lot of out of order, which was so, like, for my first time doing a bigger film, it was like, wait, so he needs to have like blood on his face at this point, but we haven't even shot that part where he gets the blood on his face, so we have to establish what that blood on his face looks like now before the blood is splattered on his face. Like things like that you don't think about. Wait, does that answer your question?
I mean, well, I actually want to piggyback off of that. Like, shooting non-chronological on a low-budget film like this is gonna be hard to do, and I'm kind of curious if there are any moments that you had to reverse engineer, like any happy accidents that happened from that.
I mean, we had to like pre-plan. So like if a blood was gonna splatter in a shirt like this, and we had to like we almost had to try to make sure it would happen like that on the day, So it's a lot of like trying to match what you shot in previous. I mean, he got a haircut like halfway through, and I was like, dude, why'd you get a haircut? Like his hair is different, and one of it, but hopefully no one ever notices.
I've seen it a couple times and I didn't notice.
But yeah, I mean, like getting the actors to like wrap their heads around and like, okay, yeah, we just shot this happy scene in like the third scene of the movie. Now we're gonna shoot this scene in the third act, where this happened and this happened. So get yourself in that headspace. That's a lot.
And I want to talk a little bit about the look of the film. I really, really love how you play with shadow in this, and how little of it you can see on her face, so she's just illuminated enough that you can't tell if something is being done there, altered. How do you build those moments?
I think that when you block someone's face, you can't see their intention, and so when you can't see someone's intention, you don't really know how you're supposed to feel. So I like to tap into that like mystery. If you see someone and they look angry, you could feel the threat of them, feeling angry towards you. But what's more scary is not knowing their intention quite, like not knowing if they're angry or happy or sad. So I just kind of wanted to always lean into that.
And you also really leaned into it with the scares, because another thing that I love about this movie is your scares, there is an abruptness to them at times, and there are jolting moments, but you also have these like very fluid ghost-like movements that she does, and it's very unpredictable, and I really do think it's a new way of doing scares. And I'm curious, like, did you have that on the page? Did you always know ahead of time? Did you work out with your DP how you were going to do those?
I knew. I mean, like, if you watch my short films, I kind of played with that idea already in some of those, but I wanted to kind of do the best version of it here, and I still don't think I want to keep like making that better. But like there's certain ways that a person can move that's really unsettling, and you know, it's just tapping into the uncanny valley, which is when something's like not quite right or it's close to human but not quite, and so like figuring out what those movements look like, you know.
We've got a little bit of time left, but for one or two more questions, do you have a favorite scare in it that it doesn't change each time you watch it?
Well, like I've seen this movie in the theaters with an audience like 15 times. Sarah's death scene is awesome to watch in the theater. I'm always in the back so I can see people. It's really, I mean, I'm always like looking forward to that.
And like on the day, is that the kind of stunt where like people who like aren't even aren't on call that day are like, oh, I want to come and watch how you're gonna do this?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but it was really nerve-wracking that day because we only had 3 sets of glass. I think Vivian is here. Yeah. So Vivian was our production designer. She's so talented. I mean, that whole house did not look like that. Like the wood paneling was fake. Like everything, it was all put up. And we had 3 like candy glass windows. And I think I was like, okay, so we got 3 takes. Like this is scary, you know. And I think they were like picking up one, and it just shattered in their hand. So like there's one take. And then the second take, like a piece of styrofoam just like fell in the shot, and it kind of it didn't, like you could have maybe painted it out in post, but it didn't 100% work. So we were like, oh shit, we only can do this one more time, and that's what you see in the movie. So,
It's awesome. It is movie magic.
It's scary, like when you really only have one take like that.
But then when it comes to like the edit, when you have moments like that where it's just building harder and harder and harder. Is there versions of this where the head smash goes on for 20 more smashes than it actually was?
Yeah. Well, actually, at TIFF, where this movie screamed, there was about 6 or 7 more bashes. And we were getting an NC-17 rating, and so they were like, you gotta take out some of those bashes. And I was like, I'm not taking out a single bash, but I did. So now it's rated R.
And it's still really fucking hardcore. I saw it at TIFF as well, and I watched it from the back of the theater, and the way everyone reacted, whatever the number is now, is the right number because it fucking works.
Good. Okay. Thank God.
And just as a last question, you know, looking back on this movie later in your career, in like 20 years, like, is there a certain day on set, a certain moment that you hope is the first thing that you remember about making this?
The first thing I remember about making this, I learned a lot of lessons as a director on this movie, like about pacing and like I like to do these one-ers and stuff, and I think like I've kind of learned my lesson about the one-ers are really great, and I'm gonna keep doing them, but you have to get the timing correct on the day. There's no, you know, speeding up the timing of this or making the beats or more awkward or less awkward or whatever. It's whatever you got that day is whatever you got. So, you know, on the next one, we're making sure that the pacing is right in the one-ers.
Awesome. And before I give it up for a session, I want to point out that you flew here from the other movie that you're making right now. So thank you for coming here.
Thank you. Yeah. I was on set at 3 a.m. yesterday, or today, at 3 a.m. this morning, finishing an overnight shoot, and then I got right on a plane, and then didn't even get to a hotel, just landed here, and now I'm doing this, so.
Awesome. Thank you for coming out.
This was so good.
Please give it up for a session. Pull out your phone, vote for it in the audience.